from the banks of the Delaware River to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. In 1995, the New Jersey Devils, Peter McNabb, are Stanley Cup champions.
Matt, it's just one of those great moments that happens once a year in hockey. The Devils were just a picture of a team all playoff long. They came together right before the Boston series. They just rolled through the playoffs. 4-1 against Boston, 4-1 against Pittsburgh, 4-2 against Philadelphia, 4-0 sweep against Detroit Red Wings, and they were underdogs every single series. They fought back, and some of the moments that were on the ice right after the game were things that you just had to be here to see, and it was just sensational stuff. The one particular moment, Danico, Driver, and McLean together in a huddle.
Well,
great stuff.
The three longtime veterans who have been here since the early days when the franchise struggled for victories. Back in the days when Wayne Gretzky called this a Mickey Mouse operation, I saw a sign in the stands that said from Mickey to Stanley, but those three certainly have to feel awfully proud right now.
I mean, it was just a spectacular moment. We're going to have a look now at the goal that's brought the Stanley Cup to New Jersey. And again, one of those moves that happened during this season. Lou Lamoriello went out and found himself a center iceman that the Devils said they've been needing. Everyone thought that Neil Broughton, how much did he have left? Well, he had 2 goals tonight, and one of them was the Stanley Cup winning goal. Here it is right here. Broughton, who was spectacular. He's going to be on the right side of your screen. The puck's going to bounce out once, twice, and finally the third time he pops it over Vernon. And that gave the Devils a 3-2 lead in the hockey game. They never gave it up, and they just built 4-5-2, and the Stanley Cup is theirs.
2 goals for Broughton as he leads the Devils to the victory, but all playoff long, it had been the play of Claude Lemieux carrying the Devils offensively, sparking them with key goals, perhaps no more important than the big goal he scored late in the game against Philadelphia to help the Devils win that series. And Claude Lemieux named the Conn Smythe winner as the most valuable player of these playoffs.
He's our MVP. He's a playoff MVP right there, accepting the trophy from Commissioner Bettman. And Claude Lemieux, the minute they announced his name, the Devils just swarmed around him. Claude Lemieux promised big things in the playoffs after a so-so regular season, and he produced. Every time the Devils needed something to pick them up, a goal, a play, a checking assignment, Claude Lemieux provided a very, very deserving MVP.
The second time he'll have his name engraved on the cup. He won a cup along with teammate Stéphane Richer in Montreal. The only 2 Devils who prior to tonight had tasted the sweet champagne out of Lord Stanley's Cup, but they'll all have a gulp tonight.
Well, they're all off the ice right now. Martin Brodeur was the last Devil to leave the ice, being interviewed. They're in the dressing room right now, and that is going to be a wild, wild scene. It's about 11:30 now. They're not going to get to bed for a good long time. And those babysitters have got the kids of the Devil players. Don't be waiting up too long.
Yeah, they'll see the light of dawn. That perhaps is it. As you can tell by the reaction to us up here in our broadcast location, the fans do not want to leave. They want to drink all of this in. 19,040 strong on their feet for the last few moments of this game. And they stayed on their feet through all the trophy presentations, the video presentations up on the big video screen here. They are enjoying this as much as anyone else. There's Martin Brodeur in the locker room, along with the assorted Devils. Stan Fischler will be down there in just a moment, bringing you interviews from the Devils locker room. It will be a maddening crowd down there, but you know what? No one's going to complain.
And they were the Devil players on the ice. And, you know, there were some reactions on the bench. One was Johnny McLean. Another one was Mike Peluso right there. I mean,
the emotion overcoming Mike Peluso at that moment, and hey, why not? It's the pinnacle of any player's career. You can win a regular season MVP trophy, you can win a Vezina trophy, but if your name's not engraved on the cup, there's something missing, and the Devils from here on in can say, hey, look at the base of the cup, that's my name.
And that's the great thing about Mike Peluso. As he was going through the line, shaking hands with the Red Wings, he had tears in his eyes. He couldn't look at the Red Wings. He didn't want to show them he was crying. He just sort of hit his head and shook hands as he was shaking hands with the Red Wings. Again, the emotion was built up because it was obvious the Devils were going to win this game with about 7 minutes to go when Breland scored. And from that point on, it just got, and the bench just got, actually got quieter and quieter. It was one particular scene. Johnny McLean just said, I just can't believe it.
Well, there's no question the locker room is not quiet. Stan Fischler standing by with Brian Ralston. Stan?
Well, I got it here, right here. It's in black and white in case there's any doubt. Devils win. Brian Ralston, tell me how you're feeling.
This is unbelievable. You know, you watched him before, and you're saying to yourself, this is unbelievable, and you watch other players say the same thing, but, you know, it hasn't really sunk in yet. I'm in shock right now. I mean, this is what you dream about, and, you know, dreams come true, you know, and you know, to all the kids, you know, I used to be, you know, when I was younger, I used to watch this and just say, you know, I hope I win that someday, and tell you, dreams do come true, and, you know, Stanley Cup, there it is right over there. It's just, I'm in awe.
Brian Ralston was a last-minute insertion in the lineup. Turned out to be one of the heroes. What do you remember about some of the big goals you were involved with?
Well, you know, the one, I just beat a guy to the puck in the corner, and then the D got up a little too high, and Sergei went to the net, and I gave him a pretty good pass, but Sergei handled the pass and then put it home. Great play by Sergei.
Tell me what you thought of the total team commitment. You couldn't have imagined a 4 straight sweep, could you?
Not at all. I mean, if someone told me that we were going to win 4 straight, I would have never believed it. But, you know, we believe in our system, and we believe in our coach, and, you know, we just went out there and, you know, played the best possible game we could play every night. And, you know, I'm sure the people in Detroit are shocked because that's a great hockey team over there. But, you know, I hope by now they give us credit because we got a great hockey team here, and we got the Stanley Cup.
Brian, a word about the Smythe Trophy winner, Claude Lemieux.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, he has played outstanding, and you know, he's a huge part why the Devils won the Stanley Cup this year, and he deserves it. He definitely deserves it.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you.
Take it away, guys, upstairs.
All right, Stan, thank you very much. Ralston's assist on the Breland goal came at 7:46 of the third period, and a collective sigh of relief went up. It was pressure-packed till that point, a 1-goal game, but at that point, I think the fans started to realize maybe we could loosen up and celebrate. It made it 4-2.
Well, the Detroit Red Wings came out in the first period and played by far their best period. They were aggressive, they were on the puck, but the Devils got out with a 2-2 tie with a late goal by Sean Chambers, another big star in today's game with 2 goals, or tonight's game. And I think that was a turning point. Having Detroit play their best period and be even. I think from that point on, the Devils just started to use their size and strength and experience and that role that they're on. And Matt, I must admit, I'm so thrilled for everybody. I kind of lose in perspective. This is just such a great evening. I saw Mr. McMullen on the ice. You know, his team, Lou Lamoriello, put together this team. It's just been a wonderful run.
Claude Lemieux, the Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Number 1, he says, indeed, the Devils are the top team in hockey. Scott Stevens, the captain, offering congratulations to the Red Wings. A big goal here by Claude against Pittsburgh. Game 2.
Against the Boston Bruins, he had to check Cam Neely. He was shut down offensively, but he shut down Neely. Against Pittsburgh, he was turn free. He scored 6 goals in that series to lead the Devils past the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Stephane Richer was brilliant throughout the playoff run. Right now, he's standing by with Stan Fischler.
Thanks, Matt. Stephane, you've won cups before. How does this one compare to it?
Well, this one I think is a little bit more special for me. You guys know, and you know, since the beginning against Boston series, you know, we've been underdog all the time. We never have confidence from anybody. Nobody give us any respect, any credit. You know, I guess till tonight, I think we'll prove in that dressing room we have a lot of character, a lot of pride, and it's great. I mean, in '86, you know, I was a part of it, but I was younger. I didn't have the same role. You know, I didn't play the last game. I didn't, you know, carry the puck, the cup in the end, like tonight. But you know, this is my second one, and you know, and that was my 3rd time in the final, so it's great to win another Stanley Cup. And you know, Stan, I thanks everybody, all the fans been supporting us, you know, all playoff, and it's a great feeling again.
Steph and I go back to the first game at Boston Garden when you teamed up with Claude. To me, that put the Devils on track.
Well, I think it was really important for us, for Claude and I think most of the older guys like Johnny Mack, Neil Broughton, Bruce, Scotty, and to make sure, you know, we show some leadership on and off the ice. I think we all have different roles. I think like Claude is the guy, you know, he shows a lot of leadership off and on the ice. Me, that's different. Another guy, I'm pretty quiet in this room. I try to show my best on the ice. I try to show my leadership on the ice. We all have different roles. but the way we came out in Boston, I think this has given us a lot of confidence till the end. And like I said, it's a great feeling, Stan. I mean, we won a cup, you know, but I think everybody in New Jersey deserve it. I think the people who've been supporting that team for so many years, I mean, those people deserve it. And this is my 4th year in New Jersey, and the only thing I can say, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for the support, and hopefully we'll see New Jersey for the next, I know, for the future. I don't want to move. I think the people deserve to see that team stay here.
Thanks very much, Stefan Richer. And right after this break, we'll have more from the World Champions, Stanley Cup Champions dressing room.
Back here again at the very calm Meadowlands Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. What do you think of that?
Michael, welcome back, big guy.
I know it. Thank you.
You know, it was just an amazing run. When the regular season ended, it hadn't been a great regular season for the Devils. They had played well when they needed to during different times of the year, but really never put together any great stretch. But once the playoffs started, that first game in Boston, something flicked on, and they got her going.
Let's check in downstairs with Stan Fischler and Mike Peluso.
Thanks very much. You know, I asked Mike this afternoon whether he could taste the champagne. Mike, I asked you if you could taste it. Now you can taste it. How does it taste?
Oh, great. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Stan. It's the greatest feeling of my life. And to be a part of it's just, I'm going to never forget this.
What were you feeling in the third period after Sergei Brylin scored that goal?
To be honest with you, I was shaking. I couldn't grip my stick. I just finally turned over to Jock and I said, Jock, I'm too nervous. I'm emotional. I can't play another shift. And
how about a word about Jacques Lemaire and what he did for this hockey club?
It's unbelievable feeling. I mean, not too many highs, not too many lows. We stayed with it. It's the greatest feeling of my life.
And what about the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, Claude Lemieux?
Well, I mean, I think you could have called that after the Philly series. I mean, he's just on a roll, and you know what makes him stand out is he's just an emotional player, and he's a team leader, and energy, excitement, enthusiasm, whether it's negative or positive, he brings it to this club every night, and God bless him.
There are always turning point games in a march to the Cup. Can you pick out one game when you thought this club would go all the way?
Well, after Game 3, you know, I felt we really came out and established ourselves in the forecheck, and they gave it one last hurrah, and unbelievable. We just carried it through. I'd like to say something. I mean, I think I would like to say Daryl Sutter. I mean, I'd like to say hi to him and thank him because he stuck through me through thick and thin, and we won a championship in Indianapolis, and God bless him, and thanks a lot, Sutsy.
Congratulations, Mike Peluso. Now we're going to go to Matt Laughlin with Bobby Carpenter. Take it away, Matt.
All right, Stan, thank you very much. Bobby's about to pop the cork of champagne. It's his second already, and there goes the spray. I'm not exactly sure who caught the front of that. I think we all did a little bit. Bobby, way to go! Bobby, congratulations. I know this caps a career which you want to extend, but in terms of a defining moment, this has to be wonderful.
It's the best thing that's ever happened, second best thing that's ever happened to me. The birth of my daughter was the first, but I mean, this is just the toughest thing, the most difficult thing I ever had to go through.
How do you explain this team's run through the playoffs? No one gave them any chance. They thought it would end after Boston, and here you are drinking from the cup.
Well, I think that helped. Nobody gave us a chance. We believed in ourselves. We believed in our system. We believed in our coach. We believed in our general manager right on up to the ladder. Our owner, he was just absolutely fantastic with us this year. We went first class everywhere we went, and it really helped, and everybody was just a big family together.
Your transition from a goal scorer early on in your career, a 50-goal scorer, the first American to do so, to one who had more responsibility on the defensive side, obviously that was a key to success in the playoffs, your play.
Oh, there's no question. If I didn't make that adaptation, I wouldn't be playing in the league. And thanks to Jacques, he taught me how to do it, to be a real good player at it, and I really thank him for it. He taught me a lot about the game the last 2 years, and it's some things that I'll never forget.
How about the play during this series of Martin Brodeur, Claude Lemieux, the Conn Smythe Trophy winner?
I mean, Claude was just on his own program. I mean, he just stepped it up a couple notches above everybody else in this playoff. Marty, we knew he'd be that big for us all year, all last year, all this year, and we had no doubt that he would do it again. But there's so many other players on this team that come up big. Tonight, Sean Chambers and Sergei and Neil gets 2. I mean, every game, we just didn't know where the goals were going to come from, and it was great to see everybody pitch in.
At 2-1 with Detroit with the lead, the Devils get the tying goal. They take a 3-2 lead. I think that exemplified the poise, the confidence that this team has had. No deficit, big or small, is too much to overcome.
Well, the thing that made everybody a little nervous is that we played with too much emotion in the first period. We weren't playing ourselves. Everybody tried to do too much. That's one thing we did all year long, is we just did our own jobs, but it was so much at stake, everybody tried to do a little extra, and when we do that, we get in trouble. So everybody at the end of the first period came in, we relaxed, we settled it down, and we went out the second and third and played our game.
All right, Bobby, congratulations. Enjoy the Stanley Cup Championship. Right now, we're going to join the news media as they are hearing words from Scott Stevens and Claude Lemieux.
Par la suite, la Coupe Stanley, bien sûr. Qu'est-ce que tu as vraiment ressenti à ce moment-là?
Toutes sortes de choses. C'est sûr que ceux qui ont suivi ma carrière ont su qu'il y a eu des années difficiles. Puis les deux dernières années n'ont pas été faciles.
Stan Fischler here with Bobby Holik, and how do you say it in Czech? Or Slovak?
Czech. What do you mean? What do you Stanley Cup?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great. I got to catch my breath because this is so. You're getting this rush because it's just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm just so happy that I would like to just sit down and just be happy.
Bobby, before the game, I ran into your wife in the lobby, and she said you became a new man this year. Your play was fantastic, particularly through the finals. What did you think about the last game?
It's very tough to play. Last game. It's so many emotions there. Everybody's uptight. Even if you don't want to, there's so much involved because so much depends on one game. I mean, I really don't want to go back on the road because we want to do it in front of our wives, families, fans. We want to show them the appreciation. Oh, I don't know.
The Red Wings looked like they might take the game when they took the lead. What was your feeling then?
I don't think anybody could beat us tonight. No, we were going to do whatever it took. There's no way we were going to lose tonight.
Thanks very much, Bobby. Matt with Sean Chambers, one of the heroes of tonight's game. Matt?
All right, Stan, thank you very much. Sean Chambers, one of the heroes, as you mentioned, in tonight's game.
Well, the first thing I said was the team almost got here last year, so, why not go again this year? That was my initial thought.
Sean, how does it feel growing up in the Detroit area to win the Stanley Cup against the club that you followed closely growing up?
Well, if I wasn't playing, I'd have probably been rooting for Detroit, but, it's a great feeling. To beat anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, but to beat Detroit, it's a little special because all my friends are still back there, and it's a good feeling.
Not known for your goal scoring, how does it feel to score a pair in the Stanley Cup Game 4 clincher?
Well, that's what you dream about as a kid, scoring in the Stanley Cup. Usually an overtime winner, but I'll take it anytime they come, and they're just happen.
We're going to take a look at one of your goals. You won't be able to see it. It's the first one. Both of them actually came from inside the circle. Tell us about the first.
The first one, Bruce Driver faked the shot, and two guys went down, and I just got the puck. I couldn't get it to stop rolling, but I shot it, and it just happened to score.
That goal was clearly an important one, but I think it exemplified the Devils. It was a late goal in the period, makes the game even, and I think deflated Detroit somewhat.
I think it gave us a little more life. It was a minute and a half left in the period, and it was a big goal for us. They kind of were giving it to us that first period, and that kind of gave us life in the second period. We came back out and played our game.
Sean, congratulations. Thanks for joining us. Stan, over to one of the veterans.
New Jersey Devil, and this has got to be a fantastic moment for you and your wife and your child.
Well, I tell you what, it's absolutely unbelievable. John McClain, Ken Danik, and myself have been through an awful lot of tough times, and it's even sweeter to win it at home. There's no doubt about that. Our wives have been through so much with us as well. This gal here, she's been through thick and thin. She's been here right from the start. And I mean, you can see she's pretty emotional here as well right now. But we wanted to win it in front of our home fans, and we wanted to win it in front of our wives and kids because we really haven't had a whole lot of time to spend with them the last little while.
Mrs. Driver, I would say these are the tears of happiness.
Very much so. We waited a long time, and it was worth it.
Bruce, tonight the Red Wings made a game of it for a while. They took the lead. Were you ever concerned about the game?
Well, sure, we were a little bit concerned, but I'll tell you what, we were really humble throughout the whole playoffs in our play and how we approached things, and there's no doubt it's what this team did that made us win the Stanley Cup. And I mean, we can start boasting a little bit now, because a lot of people said it was other teams couldn't get things going, they couldn't play their game, and they weren't playing very well. There's only one reason why they weren't playing very well. It's because of the guys in this locker room.
Nobody deserved it more than you. Congratulations, Bruce Driver.
Thanks a lot, Stan.
Take it away, Matt.
Stan, I'm with the Devils owner, John McMullen, and Mr. McMullen's had a drink out of the Stanley Cup. How did it taste?
Nothing ever tasted better. It was wonderful.
Can you put into words your feeling at this moment?
Well, you know, I've been in sports a long time, and this is the culmination of many years of hard work and hard effort, and it, you know, it's just almost beyond words how to describe it.
When you brought this team from Colorado and gave New Jersey the professional franchise, there were some down years in which, for instance, Wayne Gretzky said it was a Mickey Mouse operation. Now that you're at the summit, all those years must seem like they were worth it.
Well, you know, we've been subjected to a lot of criticism, but in Maine, I think we kept our eye on the ball, and I think they saw the results tonight. We have a team that is going to be able to play again next year.
What do you say to the critics who put the organization down? They say they're not personable, it's not a social organization, it's not littered with people skills people.
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, there are some that say the public relations side for the Devils doesn't come to the forefront. Do you have any words for those who argue that way?
Well, I think our public relations department is the team. I don't know anybody that has a better one.
Obviously, 19,040 people were enjoying tonight's game, Mr. McMullen. Thank you very much. Stan, to you.
Thanks very much, Matt. And we have one of the playoff heroes, Billy Guerin, with his father and his girlfriend. And Billy, you were very instrumental in this one.
Well, I think every guy sitting on that bench and every guy we had sitting in the stands was very instrumental. Nobody's going overlooked here. Everybody did their little thing. Even the guys that didn't get to play, everybody did their little thing. Everybody was positive throughout the whole run. We were all pulling on the same rope, and after one thing, and we got it. It's because we're a team.
Very, very emotional dressing room, and I saw Bruce Driver and his wife were in tears. You seem to be hugging your dad. Very, very special. Your mother is here, Mrs. Guerin. Mrs. Guerin giving a hug in Spanish and in English. As you can see, this is a truly emotional moment. Weeping tears of joy. Mrs. Guerin, tell me in a word.
Oh, so proud and so happy for him. He had really worked hard for this, and he's so young, and he's just so great. We're so proud of all of them, actually. All of them played.
Billy, when did you think this game was locked up?
Yeah, not until that final buzzer, I tell you. And I'm so happy right now because just the people who made this happen for everybody in this room, you know, our parents, guys' wives and girlfriends and stuff like that. They used to bring us to practice at 6 and 7 in the morning.
Your mother was
chasing a dream, you know.
Your mother was
made it happen just as much.
Your mother was pretty tough on you. I remember in Boston, she told you something about don't embarrass this team. Remember that?
I remember that well, and we'll leave it at that because I probably did. And but because of the strict upbringing I had, you know, I'm lucky enough to be here today. Thank you.
Mr. Guerin, you helped raise this guy as a hockey player. As a father, did you ever think you'd come to this moment?
Billy's always had the discipline, the drive, determination, and never thought it'd be this far up. And we've all been so blessed, and we're sharing this very special moment in history. And I can't say anything more than...
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Billy Guerin. He never stopped hitting anybody in this series, the series before, and I thought your hitting was as important as your playmaking.
That's what we said. I mean, you know, I don't know, Johnny Mack might score more goals than Mikey Peluso, but Mikey Peluso is going to do just as much for this team as Johnny will. I have a different role. Randy Mack's got a different role. Scotty Stevens, everybody's got different things. We all bring different tools to the table, and you know, we're in it for each other.
And you proved it. Congratulations, Billy.
Thank you very much, John.
We'll have more from the Stanley Cup champions dressing room right after this break.
Back in the Devils locker room, Matt Loughlin along with the governor of New Jersey, Christy Whitman. And Governor Whitman, you were down on the ice as part of the celebration. How did it feel?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to see those stands just all cheering and up, and it was terrific.
The question, of course, besides how does it feel for a New Jersey-based team to win the Stanley Cup is, will this team be back next year playing here to defend it?
I don't know how they leave after this. I mean, this is New Jersey's Cup. They've done it. We love them here. We want them here. We want to keep them. I mean, look at that. This is ours. This should stay.
The names of the Devils will be engraved on Lord Stanley's Cup right down here next to the Rangers' names from last year. When's the next meeting? What's the next update on the situation?
Next week we'll see, I hope, a series of meetings. I mean, I'd like to get this settled. I'd like it known to everybody that they're staying right here, because that's what we want to have happen.
Any inside word as to where the parade will be?
We want to do it here at the Meadowlands. We've been planning. They have obviously been superstitious. You don't plan it with the Devils until after it's a fact. But we've been planning.
There were a lot of signs outside that said no Devils, no Whitman before the game. Does that put more pressure on you?
No, not really. I think people understand I'll do everything that I can within reason. And if they want to stay, we've been proved to be pretty creative in this administration and not wasted the taxpayers' dollars, but been able to do an awful lot. So they should have faith that we can do it. If it's possible to do, we can do it.
All right, Governor Whitman, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the proceedings. Let's go back to the press area right now.
They have me so hard to have this once chance in a lifetime, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world, and I'm just so proud of these guys. You know, there's so much character in this room. I mean, it's amazing just to win 4 straight, but it was the 24 guys that contributed. I mean, we didn't rely on 2, 3, 4 guys, and I don't know if many Stanley Cup champs can say that. I mean, from the Dowds to the Rolsons to, you know, our stars here, I mean, it was absolutely incredible, and, you know, I'm so proud of everybody. To be part of this is incredible.
Steve Dryden. We've been told all year that this is a team of not many stars or no stars. Don't you think you've broadened the definition of stars in the NHL with your play this year?
I hope so. You know, I think just the way we played, and I think, you know, every guy contributing to wins, you know, to success. I think there's a lot of teams gonna, you know, wonder now. You know, they're gonna look at us and they say, well, you know, maybe that's what winners is all about. You know, playing all together and playing great defensively. You know, that's one thing you don't have to be ashamed of. I think if you're able to, you know, play well defensively, you know, the goal's going to get there and you're going to win some games, and that's what we were preaching all year, and, you know, it happened in the playoffs. So
I have to say we shut up people about the trap the last 2 nights. 10 goals isn't that bad, and I'd say all these 4 guys here are stars along with Richer and Lemieux. That's a lot of stars on a hockey club right there, if you ask me.
Neil, these guys have all come in here and said that they could not have won the Stanley Cup without you. You didn't play that big a role in Dallas before you came. Did coming over here and them putting that sort of pressure on you to perform, did that kind of put you in a higher gear?
Well, they're just being nice. They almost won the Stanley Cup last year. They were like up 3-2 against the team that did win the Stanley Cup, and they have a lot of great hockey players and a lot of players that want to win. So I was just happy to come here. I had confidence. The guys were great to me, and the coaching staff was excellent. I just wanted to contribute, help the team have a chance to win the Stanley Cup, and fortunate things happened. Got some bounces, and
I'd say he did a little more than contribute.
Well, on a night when the New Jersey Devils celebrate their first ever Stanley Cup championship, perhaps the heart of the celebration is down in Brick, New Jersey, where native Jim Dowd resides. He's joined now by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dowd. And Mr. Dowd, your thoughts right now as your son is part of a Stanley Cup championship team?
It's the greatest thing in the world. You know, we never would have thought this would happen so soon. He's got a chance for a couple more.
Mrs. Dowd, what are your emotions at this moment?
I just feel great for all the boys on the team and the New Jersey Devils. They finally brought the cup, and we'll get a little respect now.
Growing up in Brick, New Jersey, when did you realize that he might have an NHL championship ring and might score a big goal as he did the other night?
Never thought about it until it happened. It just happened that he got better and better each year.
Spoken like a mom, no question about that. Jimmy, you've been a winner wherever you've gone. At Brick High School, you won a state championship. At Lake Superior State, an NCAA championship. How does this compare?
It's I mean, it's not even comparable. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is the top notch, the highest you can go, the highest level, and it's unbelievable. And I can't say enough about the team and everything. It's unbelievable.
New Jersey's very own Jimmy Dowd, his parents, and his girlfriend. Thank you very much for stopping by. Stands with Scott Niedermayer.
Thanks very much. Well, if you look back to that game in Detroit, it was Scotty Niedermayer's goal that really put the Devils in the groove. They never stopped from there. Scotty, how you feeling?
Great. Unbelievable. I mean, you know, we've worked so hard for this for a couple of years now. It's an unbelievable feeling that, you know, we're here right now. You can hardly believe it.
Scotty, your own role in this was so significant. Could you believe that at your age to be so much a factor in this World Championship team?
Oh, I just tried to go out there and play my best hockey for the team and do, you know, the most I could to help them. And I was lucky able to get that big goal, and a lot of other guys stepped up and got big goals at different times throughout this whole playoffs. That's what we're all about. We're a team, and that's why I feel so good right now.
Scotty, thanks very much. Now we go to Jacques Lemaire at the podium.
But I have to give credit to all the players on this team for what they did, what they achieved. This was great.
Hold on. Joe Falls.
Behind all of this? What made all of this happen besides the dedication and the hard work?
Well, I talked about Stanley Cup last year. I talked more about playoff. I shouldn't say Stanley Cup. I talked more about playoff. This year, we just took over, kept talking what's like to win in the playoffs. And I tried to put that in their mind. And, you know, when a team starts to believe it, then they start to feel good. And you're going to get the odd break when everyone focus on the same thing. Everyone is going in the same direction. And that was not easy to keep.
Barry Mizell.
Jacques, you were pretty hard on them mentally this year. Did you do that because you knew this was a mentally tough team? And did you learn about their mental toughness as the regular season went along?
I don't feel, and I don't think that I was hard on their mental. I feel that you got to get used to that, to think when you're on the ice, think when you have to go in forecheck, when you don't, think about your position, think about what you have to do in your own zone, in neutral zone. I know that when I first coached, I remember Serge Savard he told me that he says, you think that the guys are tired mentally because you make them think a lot? And I always felt that, you know, for a hockey player, he has to live with that. He has to get used to that because the game gets easier. You don't feel as much pressure because you only have to concentrate on your job, on your position. And then, you know, when the guy comes near you, then you start to work.
Denny Carl.
Stan Fischler here with the quiet hero of the New Jersey Devils championship defense. Well, you can't be quiet now, Tommy.
No, Roger, not right now. It's just amazing here, all the people here, and with the game we played tonight too. We came back from a 2-1. We're down 2-1, and we came back and won like 5-2. So it's just unbelievable.
They say there's no place like home. It took a while for you guys to really get the feel of winning at home, but the last two games, tremendous.
Oh, the last game is tremendous, but like you said before, we've always had trouble. Even last year, the first game of the playoffs at home, every series we seem to have a tough time. We almost lost that one. So right now, it's just an amazing feeling right now, especially when you sweep them too. It's an even better feeling.
Tommy, in the last few seconds when the crowd was going wild, what were you feeling inside?
Everything just came out. You know, finally it's summer, you can do whatever you want. And you can go out, and now we're going to have a good time here tonight, and we'll go from there.
Skål, Tommy.
Skål.
Take it away, Matty.
All right, Stan, Martin Brodeur has joined us, a big smile on the young man's face, enjoying every moment of this. Martin, how do you feel?
It's hard to describe, you know. I think it's something we waited for a long time. You know, I think there's others that was a little longer than me, but it feels, you know, good. It feels unbelievable. I think people around here deserve it, you know. They deserve everything.
The pressure obviously did not affect you. In fact, before Game 3 on Thursday, while Mike Vernon was bent over in concentration before his introduction, you had a big smile. You were laughing just before you were brought out onto the ice.
Well, I think that's the way you got to look at it. I think it's unbelievable. You got to enjoy every minute of it, and I did, and I'm proud of it. And I think everyone in the dressing room here were really ready about it. I think we wanted to win right now in New Jersey, and we did it.
Tell us what it feels like to be between the pipes and see this defense in front of you, the strong effort that the team puts forth.
Well, I think, they played just unbelievable all throughout the playoffs, I think, but mostly in the finals, guys, really bear down defensively, and, the defense won the Stanley Cup, for the first time maybe. It's great.
Did you think at all that you could sweep this club coming into this series?
Well, you can't allow yourself to think about it, but I think we knew that we're the team to do it, and I think we did it, with every player. And I don't think every game was a different player, and that's why it's so good now.
Marty, congratulations, and thanks for stopping by. Upstairs to you guys.
It was a steady roar, and then when Martin was handed the cup, there was a swell in the crowd appreciating the work that he had done not only last year in the playoffs, but this year in one that went further than a seventh game of a third round. It went all the way to a sweep in the Stanley Cup Finals. Martin Brodeur, who saw the bridges of Madison County yesterday. We should mention that as part of his film appreciation class that he took as a superstition, I guess, as a part of this Stanley Cup Finals. But in trying to, there are so many things that rush through your mind at a time like this when you've seen these guys come from the uncertainty of a fall into the mid-year, like into January, still not knowing whether there was going to be a season. And I think the thing that Peter mentioned the other night, true too, even by mid-March, we had no sense of the pulse of this team at all, where they would be headed, even if they would make the playoffs, let alone come through and have that big piece of shiny hardware down there tonight.
Well, I thought the theme that went through everyone's comments was really the key to this hockey club. They all talked about each other. People tried to deflect, the comments out of them or get comments out of them about themselves. They just couldn't do it. This team is so together at the end. They were focused, playing for each other, and as somebody said, if they're going to try and copy this club next year and win a Stanley Cup, you have to get 20 guys that believe in each other, work for each other, and love each other, because that's what happened to this hockey club at the end. They worked and just grabbed onto something special inside of themselves that just carried them, because they were magnificent this playoff. And the faces and the feelings that you could see in the emotion, Bruce Driver and his wife, Dilly Guerin and his family, that's priceless stuff, and that's stuff they're not going to forget, and they did that for each other.
He's eloquent, isn't he? We'll be back with more from the Meadowlands Arena in just a moment. Back here at the Meadowlands Arena, where the New Jersey Devils are still celebrating and will for the next 10, 15 years, perhaps. At least a lot of these fans will be doing that. The championship that they won tonight, the excitement of all this will carry over, I'm sure, into a celebration, the announcement of which we haven't heard as of yet. But a flood of memories come back to you as to what might have been had certain things not happened in certain games. We go all the way back to the second round, the round against Pittsburgh, and the Devils were trailing in the series 1-0, and it was late in the game. Eventually, the puck came to the captain, and lots of good things happened once Scott Stevens got a hold of it that night.
Well, the Pittsburgh Penguins had just tied the score 2-2. Remember, the Devils had lost Game 1 late. They needed something to pick them up, and Scott Stevens, he only scored one goal in the playoffs, and this was that goal. Remember, the score is 2-2. Pittsburgh had just scored. 29 seconds to go in the game. Stevens just drives the net. Nice move on Taglianetti. Sweeps it by Reggett. And the Devils get that win. And they went on to win 4 in a row against Pittsburgh. And again, as this series go along, you forget about little plays like that. If Pittsburgh ends up winning that game in overtime, it's 2-0 Pittsburgh coming back to New Jersey. All of a sudden you start doing it. But what a great job by the Devils. Scott Stevens and that in particular on that play.
Matt Loughlin is downstairs with the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, Claude Lemieux.
Mike, thank you very much. Claude, now a second Stanley Cup championship in your career. Which was sweeter, this one or the first one?
I think they were both great, and
this is different. You know, I waited 9 years to be back in this position, and to win it the way we did it, and with the team that we had, and here in New Jersey is just very special.
How do you tell the viewers why it is that you turn things up in the playoffs, particularly in this one, as you come away with the Conn Smythe Trophy?
You know, playoff is what you know, hockey is all about, and I always wanted to be remembered as one of the greatest clutch players in this league and in hockey, and to have my name on this trophy, I think it says it all, and it's unbelievable. I can't believe that I won it, and it's just an incredible feeling.
Well, I'm looking at some of the names: Jean Beliveau, Roger Crozier, Dave Keon, Glenn Hall, and now Claude Lemieux. How does that feel to follow in those greats?
You know, especially when you're known as one of the most hated men in hockey, and you know, this was voted by the media, so I think that I must have deserved it. I must have done something right to get it, and it's just I don't know. I'm numb. I don't know what to say anymore.
Well, whether it was a goal, a hit, or just some effort, Claude Lemieux was there this year for the New Jersey Devils during the playoffs, and congratulations, Claude.
Thank you very much.
All right, Stan Fischler's got Sergei Brylin with him.
Thanks very much, and if the Devils needed a goal tonight to really put them in the clear, it was Sergei Brylin's, and that was the one that really meant the game. What do you remember about the goal?
Brian also just gave it to me. Puck, it was an unbelievable pass right in front of the net. I just turned around and put it in there. That's it. That's all I remember.
As you can see, this guy is no bigger than I am, but he plays like he's twice as big. You were very courageous throughout this series, and particularly in tonight's game. Have you ever had a bigger thrill in hockey than this one?
No, it's the biggest goal in my life. It's the biggest game, I think, forever for me.
Have you had any champagne yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
It tastes good?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And he's only a kid, you know. We saw him when SportsChannel was doing the Albany River Rats games, and we didn't know whether or not he'd be able to make the big club, but he kept getting better and better and better. Congratulations, Sergei.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys, upstairs. Take it away.
Well, Sergei looks pretty good with that championship hat on, and I think we should say something about Stan Fischler. I like the no glasses wet-head look on Stan, don't you?
And the kiss Tommy Aveling playing, that was kind of looked kind of nice on him too.
Indeed, indeed. You think back to a situation, say, that occurs in a game and what might have been, and you know, there are several turning points. We just saw that one with Scott Stevens, and one of them that comes rushing back to my mind too was Claude Lemieux scoring on Ron Hextall in the 5th game late. What happens if that game goes into sudden death overtime and Philadelphia wins? Now they're ahead 3-2. They've won 3 straight, and they're coming back here. Ifs, and they're all fun to dwell on now if you're a New Jersey Devils fan, because they were ifs that went the way of what turned out to be the best team going.
And, you know, you look at the goal scorers in tonight's game. You talk about a hockey club, the Devils, that needed something about maybe the 2/3 mark of the season to get them going. Sean Chambers comes over from Tampa Bay. He scores 2 goals tonight. Neil Broughton comes over from Dallas. He scores 2 goals tonight. And they got Sergei Brylin coming in from Albany. He gets the 5th goal tonight. So, you know, just every little thing the Devils did as an organization worked out for them. And the guys they brought in did a good job. The guys that were here did a good job. You know, it's a night for greats. So great performance by this guy, great performance by that guy. But I just get back to that one thing again that just strikes me about this group. They talk about each other, and that's it's a remarkable team.
Well, you mentioned organization, and since Montreal in 1977, this is the first organization with an NHL and an AHL championship the same year. And the coach of the River Rats, Robbie Fatorik, is downstairs with Stan.
Well, Mike, there's an old tune, you made me what I am today, and I hope you're satisfied. And this guy, Robbie Fatorik, made a lot of Devils what they are today. Sergei Brylin, one of them, Brian Ralston, another. You got to be soaking with pride.
I'm very, very happy for the guys here. You know, they all played very, very well, and Jock did a great job getting them ready to play. And, you know, Detroit played well, but I just think we stifled them all around, and we had a great series.
Robbie, as you know, we were covering the River Rats earlier in the season. Sergei Brylin did not look like he was NHL material then. What did you do to turn him around?
Well, we let him play. You know, we let him play, and he had all the skills. He just had to learn to adjust to the game a little bit. And then with Rutke and Simpson on his wings there, he got a lot of confidence, and he just started to play. And he's a great player, a lot of talent, and he's got great skill and hockey sense, as you saw the pass he gave to Chambers. And then with the the patience that he took when he scored that goal, you know. So it was really nice to see Sergei do something tonight.
Congratulations, Robbie Ftorek.
Thank you very much.
We'll have more from the Stanley Cup champion locker room right after this break.
"24 Devils played on the road to this Stanley Cup, and the one who played the fewest minutes should come in for some kudos, too. Chris Terreri saw 8 minutes of action against Philadelphia, did not yield a goal, but that, I guess, is what we've come to expect from this guy.
I was talking to Chris this morning, and, you know, he was as pumped up as anybody else for this victory. It's not easy to sit back and be a #2 goaltender. The #1 guy plays all the games, especially in the playoffs. Chris Terreri was been a #1 with the Devils. It was his dream to be that guy that was going to win a Stanley Cup. But, you know, he never got down. He may have got down by himself, alone in his room, wishing it was him in goal, but he didn't show it when he came to the rink. He stuck around, he practiced, he did all the things to stay ready. Didn't get his chance, but Chris Terreri, like all the Devil players, was a big part of this team.
This was a very emotional night for Mike Peluso, but one of the memories that I have, and I'm sure you have too, is when it was 0-0 against Boston in sudden death overtime. Locker against Brodeur, and it was Mike Peluso's presence which caused a turnover and caused a goal.
Mike, you're talking about big goals in this playoff run. The series was 2-1 for the Devils. Boston wins this game. They win both games at the Meadowlands and take it back to Boston even. Right here. Now, watching the right side of your screen, there's Mike Peluso right there coming in. He forces the defenseman out. There comes Randy McKay. The Devils take a 1-0 victory and a 3-1 lead back to Boston, where they eventually run it out 4-1.
And there he is up celebrating with the crowd. The crash line became something so magnificent this year. We had talked about them some last year, but I think this was the year that they really came together. And you think about where these guys came from. Out of the Detroit organization, McKay, out of Ottawa, of all places, Peluso, after going to Chicago, out of the Czech Republic, and then eventually Hartford with Bobby Holik. From all of those diverse points to come together and have something so unified on this team that eventually got to a championship is mind-boggling.
I think the thing was interesting. The team took such pride in their play. You know, Mike, you gave them the crash line, the name crash line, and it stuck. And the players, they liked when these guys were on the ice. They didn't score a lot until the playoffs, when Randy McKay had 8 goals in the playoffs. But they represented the effort on this hockey club. They got out. I think back particularly to one game in Florida. The Devils won that game 3-2. They each scored a goal in that game, and Mike Peluso got into a couple of fights. And it was just, that was sort of like the trademark game for them. They didn't very often get a lot of goals, but the effort was there every night, and Jacques Lemaire used them. Every time he wanted the momentum to be changed, out would come the crash line. And now the crash line gets to hang together and have their name on that cup.
You know, earlier we were mentioning the goal on Ron Hextall, and it was just another one of those splendid crank shots by Claude Lemieux. We get a chance to review this in our memory banks again. Game 5, the series tied at 2, and it's late in the game, and the game is tied.
And the ice was tough. The players were tired. There was less than 40 seconds to go. There was about 45 seconds to go, pardon me, and he just unloads it. And I'll tell you, I happened to be sitting up high, and I watched the emotion just drained out of that building in Philadelphia. That young girl right there pretty much sums up the feeling of the Philadelphia fans. They thought they were back in this series. And again, a big goal, the right moments, and Mike, it just shows you that's what you need if you're going to win a Stanley Cup, because they're dotted all the way through the playoff run for the Devils, those special big goals that highlighted this Stanley Cup performance.
We'll have a lot more coming up for you from the Meadowlands Arena right after these words. Back here again at Meadowlands Arena, you see the cap above Neil Broughton's space in the Devils locker room. Neil has met the press. He has been down below and celebrated with his teammates. Hasn't left yet. I don't think anyone's left yet. I think this party is going to go on for quite some time.
And as you say, Mike, little things keep running through your mind when it's over. And one thing that jumps out to me was the fact that Devils, again here tonight, not once in 20 games did they, at the end of the first period, were they trailing or not ahead. And, I mean, that takes great preparation. This club must have worked hard before games. Jacques Lemaire must have done a great job of getting them mentally ready, because that's an incredible situation. Because you got to remember, 11 of those games were on the road. So they were never behind after that first period. And again, it just was one of the keys.
All right, let's hear from Neil Broughton downstairs.
Well, if you remember in 1980 when the Islanders won the Cup, it was the acquisition of Bruce Goring that turned it around. There is now no doubt the acquisition of Neil Broughton enabled the Devils to win the Stanley Cup. Neil?
Well, I don't know. When I come here, I just wanted to contribute, help the team, and Jacques Lemaire gave me a chance to do that, and support of the players. It's just an unbelievable feeling to be part of a team that wins the Stanley Cup, and I'm just happy to be here to contribute.
Tonight, what do you think was the turning point in this hockey game?
I don't really know what the turning point was. We come out, we were a little bit, I don't know, it was flat, but we were nervous, and the first period we were fortunate to come out of that 2-2, and then we got a goal in the second period to make it 3-2, and we're pretty strong with the lead, and going to the third period we had a 3-2 lead, and we just stuck to our game, and I don't really know what the turning point was.
40 years from now, he can talk about the Stanley Cup winning goal that he scored. What do you remember about it, Neil?
I remember Niedermeyer carrying it in. I just went to the front of the net, and he slid in front or back, and I went in front, and I hit it a couple times, and it ended up slipping over Vernon, but wasn't really much of a goal. It just went in the net.
Thanks very much, Neil. Matt, take it away.
Stan, 3 players on this team have been here an awful long time now, tasting the Stanley Cup sweetness. John McClain, one of them. Johnny, all the years behind you, what does it feel like?
It's an incredible feeling. I mean, just to, you know, we were close last year, and then this year we just got on such a roll, and we played so good as a team together, and we worked hard for this, and we deserved it, and we went out and got it.
John, as the team came out onto the ice in celebration of victory, there was a poignant moment where you, Kenny Danigo, and Bruce Driver got together. How did that feel?
That's incredible because, you know, we all came down here real young. You know, Bruce out of college, Kenny and I had a junior, and, you know, we always said we wanted to win a cup here in New Jersey, you know, and it's no mistake that Kenny, myself, and Bruce are still here because we're true Devils, and we loved it here. Now to finish off with this is just an incredible feeling, and I mean, I can't explain it. I'm just happy not only for those guys, but everybody else, because everybody worked just so hard.
John, one of the big goals you scored in this series was back in Game 1 against Detroit, but I don't know if that... Go ahead.
John McClain with one of the big goals of this series. John McClain has had the big goals of this franchise when you come to think of it, and you think back over some of them.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate to know Johnny now for 10 years when he was a real young guy just coming out of junior hockey and struggling to find himself. Believe it or not, Johnny McClain once went over 20 games without scoring a goal in this league. It's hard to believe that now when you see the accomplished pro that he's become. But I think, more importantly, I think back to the year that he sat out because of a knee injury. And everyone questioned, was Johnny McClain ever going to be the hockey player that he was before that knee injury? And he struggled the first year back. Then last season, got it back together. And this year, he was good old Johnny Mac. And tonight, you know, it's when you saw those 3 guys together, you know, that was a very special bond. And Johnny McClain, you know, he worked hard to get to that. He's going to feel pretty good putting on that ring.
I wouldn't throw this to him if I didn't know that he could recount it, because he has this memory about things. We were standing down in Tampa Bay one day, Peter and I, and we were talking to Bobby Carpenter, and he was describing for us what it was like trying to come back and spending time flat on your back in a hospital. Recall just a little bit of that, because this will give you an appreciation for what Bobby Carpenter went through.
Well, Bobby Carpenter shattered his kneecap to the point he went in, the doctor said, well, you'll be able to walk, we think, but certainly will never be able to play hockey again. He had to spend 3 months on his back, just with a special gizmo, moving his leg back and forth with the feeling he would never, ever play hockey again. And tonight, he's drinking from the cup.
If you ever had the misfortune to be in the hospital for even a couple of days, imagine flat on your back for that length of time. We've got a lot more coming up from the Meadowlands Arena following the Devils' clinch of the Stanley Cup tonight and 4 straight over the Detroit Red Wings. A lot more coming up, but that'll be after this. Here again at the Meadowlands Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Although the crowd has left the arena, we have a pretty effective word that they're still in the parking lot areas and still going on with the celebration, just as the players are down in the locker room right now. The appreciation of a championship, I think, when it has come through so many difficult years, and especially the early ones where the team was brand new and just getting started, and as a result didn't win a lot of games, But I think also one of the things that was overshadowing this, that the players remarkably blotted out, were the continuing rumors and the continuing articles in the newspaper pertaining to a possible move to Nashville. And it was like it didn't affect these guys. It had to, but it was like nothing changed, and they didn't change from anything one iota. The play just kept on marvelously with consistency.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Jacques Lemaire took his hockey club right at the start of the playoffs and put him in a hotel. They knew that he always does that, but this year was even more important because they knew that this Nashville thing was going to be around. The players were sequestered. It was just hockey, hockey, hockey. This wasn't a fun time away from the rink for the Devil players. They came, they practiced, they went back to the hotel, they stayed at the hotel, they ate together, they slept together, they practiced, they played the games, and after all of this time, they finally get a chance to, enjoy it. But, that's, I think, why Nashville was at least pushed aside by the players a little bit.
I wonder what Tom Chorsky has on his mind. Let's find out downstairs with Matt Laughlin.
Well, Mike, one of the things he has on his mind is trying to find his family. He had 13 tickets given out, and more he said he found out, wound up getting tickets on their own. Tommy, a big time for your family. Congratulations.
Well, thanks a lot. You mentioned my family, and they're the people that kind of, when you're growing up, make the sacrifices to buy your equipment, to drive you to the rink, to bring you to the tournaments. And my dad was always involved as a manager type, scheduling type, and they like I said, they made a lot of sacrifices, and it's amazing that we were able to win in 4 games in a situation that they were able to be here.
How do you explain the fact that halfway through the season, it didn't look like the Devils maybe would make the playoffs? If they did, certainly not go very far, and then once the playoffs began, it was put into overdrive.
Well, one thing that's always talked about in athletics is that you hope you peak at the right time. And we went through the tough times during the regular season, and this is one situation where you really saw the team really rise to the occasion, peak at the right time in the playoffs. And going through the hardships that we did in the regular season, I think really prepared us for the tough times when we lost a game in the playoffs, not to get rattled. Or against Philly, we lost 2 in a row and they came back. We were able to keep our composure and to bounce back and to continue to win games.
All right, Tommy, congratulations. One of his uncles, by the way, flew in all the way from Brussels for this game. He's certainly enjoying it, too. We're going to take a short break. There's much more to come as we help celebrate the Devils' Stanley Cup championship.
Stan Fischler here with Chris McAlpine, who filled in so well for the Devils. And Chris, a little analysis. What was the turning point in this series?
Well, I think in Game 2, Detroit came out hard, and they got up on us. But then Scott Niedermayer, with his great, individual effort, took a, end-to-end rush, took a great shot, and then followed up on his own rebound and put it in the net. And I think that really kind of, disheartened Detroit, and we came out and we got the winner.
And what about the turning point in tonight's game?
Tonight's game, I think the turning point might have been the first period. We didn't play all that well, and we were still tied 2-2, and so it turned out to be good for us.
Could you believe 4 straight?
No, not when, we came into the series. No one could believe 4 straight. We knew this was going to be a tough battle because Detroit's got a great team, but, we just played 4 incredible games, and we got the cup to show for it.
Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Mike, Peter?
My lasting memory of Chris McAlpine comes from the middle of this short season when all of a sudden Albany, which had been pretty healthy all year, was short on defensemen, and Chris McAlpine was here in New Jersey, was not scheduled to play a game for the Devils, and he said, they need some help up there, I'll go. Now, not many guys at the NHL level are going to volunteer for a demotion, even for 1 game. And it was like Albion Lumber at one of these local rinks. He grabbed his bag in one hand, a bunch of sticks in the other, headed to the car, threw it in the trunk of the car, drove to Albany and played.
And he had a broken thumb at the time. Maybe he figured Robbie Fautor needed some help. And he said he'd gotten his own car and just drove up and played a couple of games that weekend.
Yeah. Stan is downstairs now with the victorious coach, Jacques Lemaire.
A very, very proud moment for you, Coach, and tell me how you're feeling right now.
Well, right now I'm a little more relaxed than I was. I was really, I really got caught by the emotion right after the win. I look around all the people, and I look at the players going around, and I know they feel great, and to me, just that worth a lot.
A lot of people in this dressing room, Billy Guerin, were crying tears of happiness. Did you shed any tears?
Yes, I did at the end. Last minute of play, I just went back and looked at all what we did to get there, and I just couldn't believe it.
Jacques Lemaire was the coach of the year last year. He's now the coach of the Stanley Cup champions. He was the orchestrator. When did you feel all the music in the symphony was coming together with this hockey club? At what point?
I have to say, after the first series, I think we got a lot of confidence by beating Boston, and then we went on. But we were very careful the way we thought. We wanted to win period after period, game after game, and series after series. I always told them, you can't look too far. It is far, so you got to look what you can do right now.
The master was constantly changing the pieces in the puzzle, and tonight, before the game, Brian Ralston, you put him in.
Yes, Brian, he's the type of guy that can bring a lot of speed to your team, and, that's what he did tonight. So I'm glad that the only disappointment really is Jimmy Dowd, that, because he's from Jersey, that, he was not in the lineup. But, you got to make decisions. Sometimes they're hard, but you got to think about the team.
Coach, what did Scotty Bowman say to you?
Well, he said that, congratulations. He said, you're going to win a lot more. I didn't answer because they're tough to win.
Thanks very much, Coach. Matt with Scott Stevens.
Thank you, Coach. Stan, there's just one player who receives the cup from the commissioner. That is the captain. And, Scott, at that moment, what was going through your mind?
Well, I just wish all the guys could have been there because they all deserve it. I mean, I'm a small part of this team. This is a team effort. Every night with someone different contributing and making it possible. I'm just so proud of all the guys in this team, and I'm honored to be on such a great hockey team.
This is a team that has not gotten respect. Perhaps now they will.
No question about it. Everyone put us down. Everyone, we were always underdogs. Never had home ice advantage. This is one heck of a hockey team we got here, and that's why it's so sweet.
Speaking of putting down, you put down Kozlov. You were very physical throughout the playoffs.
Well, that's my biggest asset. I got to work hard and lead by example. And I'm not the most talented player, but I come to play and I work hard, and I think that's the best way to lead.
You didn't want to come initially to New Jersey out of St. Louis. You were very unhappy with that. There have been some contract squabbles. Is it all behind you? Has it been all worth it?
Did that all happen? I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, I'm always very proud to be part of this team. And I knew when Larry Robinson, Jacques Caron came here, there's no reason why this team couldn't win the Stanley Cup. Those guys are unbelievable. Everything they say makes so much sense, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Anchored by the captain, of course, all those words put to good use on the ice. Scott, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Upstairs to you, Mike and Peter.
Okay, it is appropriate that we do finish with the captain. Our coverage downstairs has ended. Matt, thank you very much. Stan, the same to you. I don't know how to appropriately close this. Our coverage is completed here, but there have been so many memories that have flooded through both of us, and I think through you as well, those of you who followed the Devils all year long. To capsule it is very difficult. We'll give it a try, beginning with you, sir.
Well, I think just a congratulations to all the people that have worked for the Devils organization over the years, but most especially to the team. They came together at the right time. As Tom Chorsky said, they peaked, and now they have themselves a Stanley Cup.
I have 10 seconds. It was wonderful. It was exciting. It was great being with you. We're looking forward to lots more in the future. That's it for our telecast from tonight. We want to salute the people who've been a part of our telecast all year.